Hey guys, how's everything going? This is JSer. Today is the demo day. I'm going to demonstrate how we can use intersection observer API to achieve this infinite scroll, not infinite scroll, but this auto pager stuff. So this is the first time I use this actually, intersection observer API. Per title, it says it allows us to listen to the intersections between two DOM blocks, right? In the DOM rendering, it's always a square, a rectangle. So when you scroll, the inner elements or the document, it will cause the rectangles of some DOM elements to change, right? And the browser API intersection observer API allows you to listen to when the box jumps into your viewport or jumps out of your viewport or specific elements. So yeah, it's a perfect use case to allow us to implement this infinite scroll behavior. So let's do it. So what we want to do is that we would fetch some data and then put it on the DOM and allows users to scroll and see the loading and then loads the next page. Yeah, to begin, I've already put up this DOM here. You can see there's empty list and a loading p tag. So let's add some script. Okay. The first thing I'm going to fake some data. So gen list zero. This is just a gen 50 items. With this timestamp as a string. Great. Now we would mock some API. So we will fetch some data, fetch list. Obviously returns a new promise. We add some delay to it. We set it to, suppose the API is not very fast, we set it to 1 second. And we will resolve this list. So we have this resolve, say timeout. Yeah, okay. Let's give it a test. So fetch the list and then we log it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we can see that it's we can have these 50 items. And then, okay, we comment it out and we prepare the render. This is the data and we prepare the rendering. So render list would be, we get the list and we put it into the DOM, right? Okay, so get the UL, document, query selector, UL. We create a fragment for this one. Fragment, document, create document fragment for item of list. We create a list item. And append child item, and then when it's done, we insert it to the list. Append this fragment. Great. And then let's give it a test. So fetch list, then render it. Reload it. On call, append child node is not a type. It says, okay, some problem. Okay. is some debug console here. Fail to execute append child on node. Append UL, document query selector. This is UL. Interesting. Parameter 1. Okay. Append fragment. It's append, I guess. It's not a type. Fragment, document query document fragment, fragment and child. UL append. It's a fragment. Oh, it's not child, I guess. Oh, great. My bad. It's not child. I need to fragment append and append this fragment. We can see that list is showing, but there's some problem. It should be a okay. Oh. It should be a list item. LI. Ah, shit. My bad. Okay, let's reload it. Great, you can see that it's loaded. Okay, so the next problem we need to solve is to check when this loading indicator is jumps into our eyes, jumps to the viewport, and then we load the next one, right? So to do that, we need to create this observer. We can see the intersection observer API. Okay, we need to create this observer. Okay, let's create one. So observer equals new intersection observer callback. We just const node more would be fetch list and then render list, right? The callback would be entries. So this intersection observer allows us to listen, observe multiple entries. So for single element. For now, we're only using one. So okay, we set the option. Root defaults to viewport. We just want a viewport, so we don't need to set it. We're merging. We could use this to load it a little sooner, so we don't need now. Threshold, we set it to 1, so when the loading indicator is fully visible. So for each entry, it means like the breakpoints we set up. Entries for each entry. When this entry changes, we check if this entry, it says is intersecting, we log it for more details. Then it means it jumps into our viewport. Then we would do what? We don't know more, right? Yeah, and then this observer is done. We observe document query selector loading. Great, let's take a look. Notice that we already commented out this one. So the initial mount, when the first time the loading is, we see it, we will actually load more. Great. You can see that we got 2 entries. The first one is when the first time we reload it, okay, reload it here. It jumps into our viewport, so it says intersection ratio is intersecting true, so we load it while this list is loaded, and obviously this loading is pushed down, right? Pushed down, and we got another event. It says intersecting false, so we don't load anymore. So that's why we stop. You can see the scroll bar here. Then we scroll up another time, it'll load another page. This time we scroll a little slower. you can see that it's not loading, even if we see this loading, because we set the threshold to 1. It only loads when we see the full height of it. Yeah, great. So the browser actually did this calculation for us. Pretty cool. If we change the threshold into like 0.5, let's check. Okay, now, okay, already loaded. Let's scroll it a little slower. Okay, this means 0.5. If we change it to 0.1, it's gonna load really fast. Okay, 0 is better maybe. So if we just touch the edge, it will start loading. Like, yeah, it's already started loading. If you can see the log here, when we scroll it, yeah, pretty cool, huh? One problem is that it won't, if the list is very short, like it's not enough for one page, this implementation does not assure that the loading will be triggered to display the whole, to fill this viewport height, because this observer API only listens to the changes of the intersection. So first one, initial, it changes from empty to visible. If you load one page, it's still visible. The state doesn't change, so there's no event. For this is pretty easy to solve because we're loading according to our viewport. We actually could calculate the viewport height in the client and pass it to the server. Say, okay, we need some items for this height. I would say there will be a common height, right? Common height for each item in most cases, and then you could just get the right items for the height. Let's say if it is 50. Great. So make sure it loads one page. Great. And yeah, that's pretty much of it. It's really useful because it doesn't not only allow us to listen to the intersection against the viewport, but also we could pass down the route. Say if like we have a some this infinite scroller inside a model or somewhere inlined, it would be tricky to handle those scroll events because it might cause some other effect, right? This intersection observer API is really useful. It doesn't drag down the performance, and it's event-based and super useful. And also useful for other cases, but for today's video, I'm going to stop here. Hope it helps. See you next time. Bye-bye.